Welcome to Savitri Satsang. We ended last week with a very special line. We are in Canto 3, Book 1, and here we are seeing that Ashwapati is in the first stages of this great realizations that are going to be his. So we'll begin with the last line, last two lines. There rose a song of new discovery, a bow twang's hum of young experiment. He's very young. But I'd like to read you, before I begin, two quatrains from a poem of William Butler Yeats. How many of you know the poetry of Yeats? You know? Well, Sri Aurobindo praised him very highly. A.E., who was his friend in Ireland during the beginning of the Troubles, wrote very beautiful poetry, and Sri Aurobindo said that he was higher than Yeats in his consciousness, but Yeats was the greater poet. So here are two quatrains from a poem of Yeats. Turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart. The center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. Things fall apart. The center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. Well, it sure speaks about our world today. But for Ashwapati, this is very different.
Second coming. The poem Second Coming.
Yes, it's the second coming. How did you know that?
I read it.
You read it. Very good. Very good. Pardon?
Can we have books to read at the same time?
Can you have books? There are 3 books probably up at the desk.
What page are we on? Page number?
Page number 30, towards the end. See, all these beings, all these forces are battling for his soul. And yet Sri Aurobindo says, battled for his soul as for a costly prize. In every hour loosed from the quiver of time, there rose a song of new discovery, a bow twang's hum of young experiment. And that's where we ended last week. So now we're going to begin. Oh, look at that, how nice. Thank you so much. Page 30. Sort of a little past halfway down. 30. You know what a bow twang is, huh? Everyone knows what a bow twang is? No. Well, if you have a bow and an arrow, and you let that arrow fly, the twang is the sound of the cord of the bow. A bow twang. Interesting, see? And that's why I pay so much attention to definitions. So when a tense string is sharply plucked, there's a resonant sound that's produced, and it's called a twang. And here it's a bow twang. So let's see what now is happening with Ashwapati. Each day was a spiritual romance, as if he was born into a bright new world. Adventure leaped an unexpected friend, and danger brought a keen, sweet tang of joy. Each happening was a deep experience. There were high encounters, epic colloquies, and counsels came couched in celestial speech. Well, it's very alliterative. Counsels came couched, 3 C's in a row. Celestial, of course, is an S sound. So, but it's okay. What are colloquies? Anyone? Colloquies are formal conversations or dialogues. And we see that these intellects we see on TV all the time are having colloquies. They're discussing something with each other. And so Ashwapati is hearing these counsels who are coming couched in celestial speech. So it's not ordinary speech, it's celestial speech. And honeyed pleadings breathe from occult lips. Now, let's look at counsels came couched. Couched is a framing of words, how you express something. He couched his words in this manner, expressed his words in a certain manner. So we have to really begin to understand that Sri Aurobindo has actually rewritten English. And what are counsels? Counsels are knowledgeable sources that give advice. So counsels came couched, expressed, framed in certain words, but in celestial speech. And honeyed pleadings breathed from occult lips. Now, Sri Aurobindo does not use occult here in the sense of something mysterious, hidden, as we do in the West. Oh, that was a very profound occult experience. Because for the Indian mind, occult simply means hidden, just hidden. To help the heart to yield to rapture's call. And sweet temptations stole from beauty's realms, and sudden ecstasies from a world of bliss. Well, now he's going to explain to us what this world of bliss was like. We've already heard that each happening was a deep experience. And we even know that adventure was an expected friend, but danger brought a keen, sweet tang of joy. So what is this region like? It was a region of wonder and delight. All now his bright, clairaudience could receive. Can Anyone give me a definition of clairaudience?
Hear things from those.
Yes, the power to hear sounds that seem to exist beyond the ordinary range of our hearing. They've made many experiments in Russia and, of course, in the US of these very kinetic things, such as moving objects, hearing sounds, experiencing things from realms far above our ignorant mind. And we can talk about that a little later. So, a contact thrilled of mighty unknown things, awakened to new unearthly closenesses. The touch replied to subtle infinities. And with a silver cry of opening gates, sight's lightnings leaped into the invisible. Now, of course, many of these experiences are far beyond what we can yet understand. Until we rise above this realm of ignorance, which is threefold: body, life, and mind. The first stage above this is what Sri Aurobindo calls the higher mind, in which we no longer see things in dualities. We see things as part of one. When the divine, the Lord, whatever you want to call him, here, any place, decided to manifest this world, he was beyond description, eternal, infinite. So he had to reduce his power from the one to produce the many. And in that production of the many, he created life. And the first life, of course, came out of water. The fish, the first avatar. And then we had the second avatar, the fish that could climb out of the water and live on the land as well. And then it goes on, there's the boar. Do you know all of them? Can you tell us all of the 10 avatars? Okay. So anyway, we'll pick up that another time. Right now we have to get into what is happening to Ashwapati. Ashwapati is a surname for Sri Aurobindo. It's all his experiences that he's telling us about. In the words of Ashwapati. So let's see what is happening now to Ashwapati. Ever his consciousness and vision grew. They took an ampler sweep, a loftier flight. He passed the border marked for matter's rule. Well, when life first began, matter was inert. But now we see, and science of course agrees, that nothing is static. Matter is moving. Everything has this vibration in it. Maybe very slow, maybe medium, maybe high, maybe extremely high into the etheric planes, but everything is in vibration. This chair, to us, is a fixed chair, but in the higher consciousness, it's simply the movement of atoms. Science has proven it. Okay, so we continue on. Out of this world of signs, suddenly he came into a silent self, where world was not. This is the experience of the Purushottama, of the divine being. When one rises, and I'll give you the levels of the spiritual realms: higher mind, illumined mind, intuitive mind, overmind, supermind. And he rose into the supermind, where everything is oneness, and there is no actual world there. There is just this silent, perfect oneness of all life. There is no duality, there is no hot and cold, wrong and right, happy, sad, all those things that we see on earth. So he came into a silent self, where world was not, and looked beyond into a nameless vast. And this is the vast in which the avatars, the Purusha, and Prakriti are one. These symbol figures lost their right to live. And all of us are simply symbol figures. We're male, we're female, we're old, we're young, we're thin, we're heavy. We're just symbol figures from that realm of experience. When we come down here, no, it's different. The ego says, no, this is me, and I'm different from everyone else. Not at the highest realm. Everything is oneness. So, he continues. This is a long passage and very powerful. Out of this world of signs, suddenly he came into a silent self, where world was not, and looked beyond into a nameless vast. These symbol figures lost their right to live. All tokens dropped, our sense can recognize. There, the heart beat no more at body's touch. There, the eyes gazed no more on beauty's shape. In rare and lucent intervals of hush, into a signless region he could soar, packed with the deep contents of formlessness. There, nothing has form, because all is one. Form only takes place when the one descends into the multiplicity. And in this multiplicity, we can see from the spiritual realms that everything is an illusion, everything is false. Or we can see in that spiritual realm that everything seems false but has a truth in it. So, into a signless region he could soar, packed with the deep contents of formlessness, where world was into a single being wrapped. all was known by the light of identity. So, this great line speaks to us of knowledge by identity. Yes, I see you. I see that you're young. I see that you're a female. But what do I really see? I don't have that knowledge by identity where I see that you and I are identical, just wearing different forms, different bodies. For this evolution, in the next evolution, we may be different. Sri Aurobindo often tells us that the sex usually remains the same when you take a new birth, but not always. It can change, but rarely. So when we leave our body, and I spoke briefly of this last week, everything falls away, but what we have gained within, and Sri Aurobindo has coined a term, in the psychic being. And in Savitri he says that it is a little place behind the heart. Actually, in the center of our being is where the psychic being is. Now, the psychic being leaves the body behind, the vital or life force nature, and matter, and goes to its place of rest. And this is something extraordinary that Sri Aurobindo tells us, that in that place of rest, where we have gathered everything together and prepare for our next birth, we are only there for about 2 years, and we take a new birth. So you can imagine, perhaps, how many thousands of lives you have already had to be here now. And why are you here now? Well, we could ask all these billions of people in the universe, and they wouldn't be able to answer us at all. But I can answer for us. We are here because something brought us to be a part of this new creation, which Sri Aurobindo has named the supermind, or the supramental. It is the greatest honor for us to be here now, in this moment when the world is so rapidly going to change. Because there is now the possibility of transformation. And when we are able to rise above our ego self and live in those spiritual dimensions, the body can be transformed and death can be annulled. This is the promise of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother, that we can live a life divine on this earth, not subject any longer to death, not subject to the dualities of life. All was known by the light of identity, and spirit was its own self-evidence. The Supreme's gaze looked out through human eyes and saw all things and creatures as itself, and knew all thought and word as its own voice. Namaste. Earlier on in Savitri, we saw, or we heard, that Sri Aurobindo could hear the thoughts in men. He could feel their sorrow, their grief, their happiness entering into him. And many yogis have had this power. Ramakrishna had it. Krishna, of course, Avatar had it. So this power is open to us now. There is no more secret or occult, what shall we say? I'll use the word clubs, because things used to be hidden from humanity. Why? Because man was not ready for this yet. Now we are ready, or being prepared. Of course, we're a work. In form to become divine in form. So we will go now to the next page. As we continue our series of Savitri Satsang, I wanted to share with you something that my Upa Guru, Aurobindo Basu, shared with me. His close friend, Narad Bhavan, told him the following. Do any of you know of Narad Bhavan? A few? He was Sri Aurobindo's scribe. And Sri Aurobindo would sit in his chair and he would dictate hundreds of lines to Narad Bhavan, who would write them down. This was when Sri Aurobindo's eyes were no longer very good. This is what Narad Bhavan told Aurobindo Basu. He said, Sri Aurobindo quietly said to him, as he was going to put something on top of a copy of Savitri, please do not put anything on Savitri. It is my body. So you see, we are in a very sacred moment here to be able to read Savitri. Mother said it would be 100 years at least before humanity could open to Savitri. 100 years at least. Because Mother has said it is a mantra for the transformation of the world. And we are reading now those mantric words. Everything in Savitri is mantric. We know already that it's written in iambic pentameter. Can someone explain what that is to me? Iambic pentameter? An iamb is a beat. And it is a special kind of a beat. Short, long. Pentameter means 5 beats. So there are 5 beats to the line, and it's called iambic pentameter because each beat is short, long. A contact thrilled of mighty unknown things. The touch replied to subtle infinities. Of course, the poet has the range to create different aspects, such as 3 beats in one, which is called an anapest. And we often see 3 beats in one in Savitri. But I just wanted to go through those few things with you to let you know that Savitri is written in iambic pentameter, which is the pentameter, which is the meter of all the great epics. Homer, Virgil, and the rest. Of course, even today they write in iambic pentameter. Milton, Paradise Lost, everything written in iambic pentameter, because it is the most powerful of all the meters. We have many other meters. We have quatrameter, which is 4 beats in a line. We have trimeter, which is 3 beats in a line. But we are reading now iambic pentameter. A contact thrilled of mighty unknown things, awakened to new unearthly closenesses. The touch replied to subtle infinities. Going to go in rare, it's a few lines down, maybe 15 lines down. In rare and lucent intervals of hush, into a signless region he could soar, packed with the deep contents of formlessness. And then he says, and all was known by the light of identity, and spirit was its own self-evidence. The Supreme's gaze looked out through human eyes. Remember that Ashwapati, Sri Aurobindo, Mother, have taken human birth consciously. Why? To lift man to the next level of the evolution. Each avatar who has come has lifted the evolution one notch higher. Christ was an avatar. Krishna, an avatar. Now, there are many who are not quite avatars, but we call them vibhutis. I can tell you some major vibhutis. Abraham Lincoln. Of course, Vivekananda. Vivekananda was a great vibhuti. He came to Sri Aurobindo when Sri Aurobindo was in jail by the British, and he told Sri Aurobindo of the supermind. Can you imagine that? Into a signless region he could soar, packed with the deep contents of formlessness, where world was into a single being wrapped, and all was known by the light of identity, and spirit was its own self-evidence. Sri Aurobindo often hyphenates words, And when he hyphenates a word, it becomes a new word. So something that is self-evident is not the same as self-evidence. Just to keep that in mind. The Supreme's gaze looked out through human eyes and saw all things and creatures as itself, and knew all thought and word as its own voice. And now we carry on. Their unity is too close for search and clasp, and love is a yearning of the one for the one. And beauty is a sweet difference of the same. He capitalizes the word same, he capitalizes the word supreme, he capitalizes so many words. And when he does that, it means it is the absolute essence of that word, that it doesn't have 15 different definitions. So, and beauty is a sweet difference of the same, and oneness is the soul of multitude. So we have two ways in our state of consciousness to understand the creation. The multitude, these billions of people, are the essence of the one. The one has divided himself into the multitude. There, all truths unite in a single truth, and all ideas rejoin reality. He's going to tell us a bit about wisdom, who is feminine. There, knowing herself by her own termless self, wisdom, supernal, wordless, absolute, all-seeing, motionless, sovereign, and alone. There, knowledge needs not words to embody idea. Idea seeking a house in boundlessness, weary of its homeless immortality, asks not in thought's carved brilliant cell to rest, whose single window's clipped outlook on things sees only a little arc of God's vast sky. Now, what I have often done in the lexicon of an infinite mind, the book I wrote on definitions in Savitri, is threefold. The first, all the definitions given by Sri Aurobindo and Mother, and I went through all 60-something volumes to take out of them those definitions. Secondly, I went to the elder disciples of the ashram and asked them for definitions of phrases coming from the Vedas. And that is the supplement to the lexicon. Thirdly, I went to Oxford English Dictionary, and I spoke to the head of the Oxford company. And I said, I would like to have your permission to utilize these definitions in this great work by Sri Aurobindo, Savitri. And he said, how many definitions do you have? I said, about 3,000. And he said, yes, but we charge 300 UK dollars for each definition. Well, that threw it out of sort. So I went to the Cambridge Dictionary, and they allowed me to use all the definitions. And interestingly, Sri Aurobindo attended Cambridge, and Cambridge Dictionary was his favorite dictionary. So how things happen, huh? So we are seeing this marvelous experience of Ashwapati, Sri Aurobindo, as he opens to all these great worlds that are so far above our experiences, and becomes the divine avatar. So, any questions?
Here, when he enters that space where everything is one,
Yes.
then what does he mean? What does it mean that wisdom is feminine? Like how is...
There is no longer feminine, masculine. There's no longer age-related things. There's no longer anything but that total oneness. That oneness that we can all rise to. Of course, Ramakrishna reached that, and other yogis reached it. Buddha did not. Buddha did not recognize God, but he saw all this world of ours as illusion. And so he rose up into this nameless sphere and rested there. But Sri Aurobindo said it's not the end. We can go much, much higher and become the divine. We can become divine. Why? Because we're already divine. Everything on earth is divine. There's a quote from Sri Aurobindo, Namaste, that I could share with you. Our sense, by its incapacity, has invented darkness. In truth, there is only light. But it is a light either above or below our poor, limited vision's range. God is everywhere. And where God is, there is light. Namaste. Namaste. It is such a joy to share Savitri. And I'm only one person. There are many who teach Savitri. But I don't teach anything. I just share what comes. And when it comes, I know that it comes from above. But we have the definitions, we have the pronunciations. Pronunciation is very important. Many times, Sri Aurobindo takes us into realms of consciousness where we don't know almost any of the words. But he was able to take them out, just plug them out and put them down. We have to go to the dictionaries. That's okay. It's a great beginning. Thank you all.